Okay, so sorry about that. I had to finish off. The 15 minutes had come to an end, and now I have some more time to finish the end of chapter 10. So, what happened? The mom and dad were reading a letter that the Egrons sent all the way from London, England, and Bobby Egron was just mentioning that a girl named Sheila was in his room, and he wanted to know if she had found his note. Tell her this. Just remember, I meant what I said. I'm bringing home 21 new models to add to my collection. Everything better just be the way I left it. And he signed the letter B.E. The whole letter made me mad, especially the part about the pick of the litter. Who said? We want one of Jennifer's puppies anyway. Don't the Egrons know that dogs are very unhappy in the city? They have to be indoors all the time. There aren't any backyards where they can be tied up. For a professor, George Egron isn't very smart, or he would know better than to offer us one of his dumb old dogs. Libby didn't agree. I just can't wait, she said. I'm going to pick him out by myself. And I'm going to be in charge of him, and he's going to sleep on my bed, and I'm going to be the happiest girl who ever lived. You better quit thinking about having a puppy, I told her, because you can't. Since when are important decisions left up to you? Libby asked. You think you're going to bring some puppy into our room to sleep on your bed? You're really crazy. You know I'm allergic to dogs. You know I get giant hives inside me. The spoiled brat isn't going to get her own way this time, Libby screamed. This time the spoiled brat is going to have to learn that I count too. I am also a member of this family. Girls, girls, Daddy said. Isn't that funny? We noticed that, of course, Sheila always acted like a spoiled brat, and here we are, seeing it in Judy Blume's own words, spoiled brat. Do you notice the word spoiled is spelled S-P-O-I-L-E-D? In class, I showed you that spoiled could also be spelled another way. Do you remember? Did you remember that it was S-P-O-I-L-T? Good for you. So now, girls, girls, Daddy said. Their dad was trying to break up the huge fight over one of them wanting a dog and the other one not. Should I continue? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Sheila's going to get a dog? Yeah, I can't imagine that. Let's see. Tell her, Father. Tell her you're going to let me have one of Jennifer's puppies. Oh, Daddy, you wouldn't. You wouldn't do that to me, I cried. Jennifer isn't even having her puppies until September. There's no point in discussing it now, Daddy said. If I don't get one, I'm leaving home, Libby said. And if she does get one, I'm leaving home, I told everyone. In about 1 minute, I think I'm going to leave home, Mom said. That's a good idea, Daddy said. Let's you and me run off and leave them together. Very funny, Libby said. Yeah, very funny, I added. The discussion is closed for now, Daddy said. Your mother and I will make the decision when the time comes. Libby ran out of the room and up the stairs. I heard her door slam. I picked up the Egron's letter and went up to my room, but I didn't slam the door. I flopped onto my bed and read the P.S. from Bobby again. I decided to write back. P.S., boys and girls, means postscript, and that means after a letter is written, somebody adds something else to the letter. Dear B.E., sure, I found your note and your 27 bottles of paint and your 6 tubes of Tester's glue, and if you think I am using all that junk, you are sick. Me and Mouse, who is my best friend, couldn't care less about your dumb old model, so ha ha! And your dog Jennifer makes too much noise at night. Yours untruly, Sonny Tubman, otherwise known as Sheila the Great. Look at that, boys and girls. Now we know why the book is called Otherwise Known as Sheila the Great. That's the end of chapter 10. Should I read a little bit of chapter 11? Let's see if I turn the page what happens. Chapter 11. Libby spends most of her free time with Jennifer. She is studying books on how to deliver babies. Even though the vet says Jennifer's puppies won't be born until September when the Egrins are back, Libby says it can't hurt to be prepared. Jennifer should sleep inside at night, Libby announced at supper. Oh, no, I said. She can sleep on my bed, Libby said. Oh, please, Father, she needs to be where it's warm. Don't you understand? I'll ask the vet, Daddy said, and I think it's all right for her to stay in her doghouse as long as the weather is warm. If it isn't all right for her to stay out there, I'm leaving, I said. A deal's a deal. Selfish, selfish, selfish person, Libby said, giving me a kick under the bed. Lucky for me, the vet told Daddy it is fine for Jennifer to stay in her doghouse for the rest of the summer. When she isn't learning to be a dog doctor, Libby is practicing how to sing. She wants to play the part of Wendy in the camp production of Peter Pan. Libby's singing makes her dancing look great. I never knew my sister has such an awful voice. I have to hold my ears when she starts in with her songs. I know she will never get the part of Wendy. Mouse and I are not trying out for parts in the play. We are signed up to paint scenery instead. So did Sam Sweeney. He has already painted 4 elephants. Since when are there elephants in Never Never Land? But of course you remember that Sam loves elephants. Russ wants to play Captain Hook, but if you ask me, he looks more like Peter Pan. On Tuesday, Libby didn't eat any breakfast. She said she was too nervous about trying out for the play. I just have to be Wendy or I'll die, she told us. On Tuesday night, she didn't eat any supper. That's because she didn't get the part of Wendy. I knew she wouldn't. I didn't think she should be acting so disappointed. She got a very important part in the play. She is going to be Captain Hook. I told her, you're lucky, Libby. Russ would give anything to be Captain Hook. Well, let him, Libby cried. I don't want to play the part of some disgusting old man. He can't, I said. He's going to be Peter Pan. This news made Libby cry even harder. Daddy told Libby to get into the spirit of the play and accept her part. After all, she could be painting scenery like me and Mouse. The next day, Libby spent hours and hours in the bathroom looking at herself. I know, because every time I had to use it, she was in there. So finally I got tired of knocking and I just walked right in on her. She didn't even yell at me. She just said, I am so ugly, it's unbelievable. Oh, you're not that bad, I said. How would you know, Libby asked. You look just like me. I do? Of course, she said. Just look in the mirror. I looked. I don't know, Libby, I said. I don't think I look like you. Well, you do, Libby screamed. And just wait until you're 13. You'll be as ugly as me, if not uglier. Oh, I could just cry. You've been crying for 3 days already, I reminded her. Oh, shut up. I went down to the kitchen and told my mother what Libby said. Libby is just feeling bad about not getting the part of Wendy in the play. She'll get over it, Mom said. She thinks she didn't get it because she's ugly. She's making excuses. And she's feeling ugly. Looks are all a matter of how you feel, you know. If you feel beautiful, you are beautiful. It all comes from inside. No kidding, I said. I never knew that. Mom smiled. Why don't you tell that to Libby, I asked. I tried, Mom said, but she won't listen. Here, have a carrot. Thanks, I said, taking it. I think I could live on raw carrots. They are the best tasting food in the whole world. That afternoon, I went to the pool with Mouse and Betsy. Mom said she would stay home with Libby and try to cheer her up. Do you think I'm ugly? I asked Mouse. Betsy answered, Yes, but I love you just the same, and so does Ooch. Oh, Betsy, Mouse said, Sheila's not ugly, and you know it. Okay, Betsy said, You're not ugly. Libby says I am, I told Mouse. She says I look just like her, and that she is one of the ugliest people on earth. She's stupid, Mouse said. I know that, but do you think she knows what she's talking about when she says I'll look like her someday? Definitely not, Mouse told me. I was happy to hear that. The next day, Libby decided to learn every part in the play. She says this is just in case someone gets sick at the last minute and she has to play another part, like maybe Wendy. I asked her if she plays Wendy, then who will be Captain Hook? And she says I am very dumb to even ask such a question. I didn't understand Libby at all. Me and Mouse have finished painting 6 huge trees, and now we are starting on the archway. When Wendy and the other kids walk through it, that means they are in Never Never Land. They aren't going to fly across the stage like they're supposed to. They're just going to pretend by flapping their arms. The problem is the archway won't stand up by itself. Every time we put it on the stage, it falls to one side. So Mike, the counselor in charge of scenery, says that me and Mouse are going to have to stand behind it and hold it up while the play is going on. Mouse doesn't want to. She says she's too embarrassed, but I think it would be great fun to be on the stage holding up such an important piece of scenery. All our parents are invited to the play, plus anyone else who wants to come. Daddy is taking a note about the production on Daddy is tacking a note about the production on the bulletin board at college. He is sure some of his students will want to see the show. Tacking a note means that he's hanging up a note with a pin. The girl who is playing the part of Wendy is Mary Ann Markham. I think her name is very good for an actress. It sounds better than Libby Tubman. I wonder why my mother and father didn't think of that when they named my sister. Sheila Tubman doesn't sound much better, but at least I don't want to be a famous actress or ballerina. And anyway, I could always call myself Sunny Tub or something like that. The one thing I have noticed about Marianne Markman is that when she's rehearsing, she sings very nice and loud and is pretty good at her part. But as soon as anyone who isn't in her play sits down to watch, she sings so soft you can hardly hear her. I wonder what will happen the night of the play. Libby is still hoping Marianne will get sick and that she will have to play the part of Wendy. Since I'm always on the stage holding up the scenery, I'm learning all the parts too. That way, if Libby winds up playing Wendy, maybe I can be Captain Hook. Finally, the night of the play came. Daddy gave Libby a rose in honor of the occasion. Oh, Father, Libby cried, you are too thoughtful. I'm glad this play will be over tonight. I'm sick of my sister, the actress. Me and Mouse had to dress in blue and yellow so we would blend into the rest of the scenery in case either one of us shows through. Marianne Markman got there in plenty of time, and she wasn't sneezing or coughing or acting sick. Libby looked stupid in her Captain Hook suit, but Russ was a perfect Peter Pan. It's too bad he can't really fly. Everybody did fine during the first act, except Mouse coughed once when Russ was singing. He stopped right in the middle of his song and waited for her to finish. Marianne's voice was low, but very sweet. When she ran through the archway, she almost knocked me over, but I hung on and the archway stayed up. Libby came on in the middle of the second act. She sang her song very loud, and when she was done, the audience clapped for her. I guess sometimes it is better to sing loud and be heard than to sing very nicely like Marianne, who nobody could hear but me and Mouse. Hearing Libby sing so loud seemed to make Mary Ann forget her lines because she just stood there and didn't say anything. I'm going to have to end here, boys and girls. we'll finish up next time.